Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, now we finally have to talk about Tropical Storm Isaias. Now I promise I'm going to be bringing content other than tropical updates. This is like the 10th one in a row, but it is just so action-packed right now, I just have to stick with it. But we have our second winter forecast coming up soon, which is very exciting for a lot of you as well, so be on the lookout for that. Alright, now, before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. Now, I'd also like to invite you to join our Patreon where you can help support the channel. We have had a few people check it out so far, and I thank you very much. It really helps this channel keep going every single day, so check that out in the description in the pinned comment. Even if you don't think you're going to join, please just check it out and see if it's what you're into. We'll see if you would like to become a patron. Now for today's comment of the day, I have another bold one that's just kind of for fun. Which state do you think would be most impacted by Tropical Storm Isaias? I used to pronounce it Isaias, but that is very wrong as I searched it up, so I'm quite embarrassed, but now we know the correct pronunciation. I'm going to have a lot of trouble pronouncing it in the future though, because it's still pretty difficult for me. Let's go ahead and look at our current satellite, and this one has overnight really developed quite nicely actually. We have some very tall clouds being indicated by those pinks showing up. We have a defined low pressure center, and that's why this one has become a tropical storm. It's about to hit Dominican Republic, which is obviously going to give this one some challenges, but I'm very curious to see how this one will hold up after it hits those very tall mountains in the beautiful countries of Dominican Republic and Haiti. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on. We're going to take a look at the actual low pressure center, the cone forecast from NOAA. We're even going to take a look at a new tropical disturbance, and then we're going to start talking about the model guidance for Tropical Storm Isaias. Alright, so here's where our low pressure center is located at. As you can see, it is just south of Puerto Rico, and it is to the southeast of Dominican Republic. It is heading in a northwesterly direction. It's most likely going to make direct landfall there with Dominican Republic, or almost certainly actually, and then cross through, maybe crossing over portions of northern Haiti there until it reaches back into the ocean, where it's going to be able to reform a little bit if it does sustain some damage from hitting those mountains, which it almost certainly will. We've seen this time and time again. Here is the cone forecast from NOAA for Tropical Storm Isaias, and as you can see, by about 2 a.m. tomorrow, I'm going to say probably by about 12 a.m. tonight, it will have finally crossed over from Dominican Republic and Haiti, and it will be back over water, which is going to be kind of the beginning of when we can see this one really develop. There is some challenges it's going to run into. We actually have a high area of shear. I didn't make a map for this. I'm just going to tell you. There's a high area of shear and a pretty slight to moderate area of dry air it's going to interact with after it crosses through Dominican Republic, which is going to be another challenge for this one. But really, the models and NOAA has trended at this one really just not struggling from these factors and eventually persevering through it. I made a post about this on our Weather Freaks Facebook group. You can check that out in the pinned comment down below. It has been crazy active if you'd like to be a part of that. But yeah, this one will most likely persevere through that and then eventually be near the East Coast or hitting some of the East Coast states. That's why I asked you guys which state you think will be most impacted. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on, take a look at that new tropical disturbance, and then we're going to get into some of the model guidance for this storm. Alright, so here is that next tropical disturbance. We have a 20% chance of tropical development within the next 2 days. It's coming right offshore of Africa, just like our past two have, Gonzalo and Isaias. So now we're going to have another one to track after this, most likely. I'm really looking forward to a break in the tropical activity so I can make videos on other things, but it just appears that there's going to be more to talk about, actually. I'm going to find a day to make that winter forecast, our August forecast, our next fall forecast. There's lots and lots of things I need to make, so we're going to have to find days to put those in. I know a lot of you look forward to some of those videos, and we are going to bring them still. Here's our sea surface temperatures. That's all I had to say about that disturbance. We're going to have future updates on that one if it's going to develop, obviously, so stay tuned for that over the next few days. Here's the sea surface temperatures off the southeast coast, and this is well above normal temperatures to the north of Haiti and Dominican Republic, and it gets even warmer than normal as you head further north. As this one curves, potentially offshore of the southeast coast, it's going to interact with even more very warm water, so it's going to continue to develop further there, even if it's offshore of the Carolinas or Virginia or the mid-Atlantic states. It's going to have a quite easy time developing. Actually, it's going to have an easier time developing up there than it is north of Dominican Republic and Haiti, because up there it most likely will not be interacting with much dry air or shear compared to the Caribbean there. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to move on. We're going to talk about some of the spaghetti models. We're going to look at the trend over the past 24 hours or so. Just take a look at how things have progressed. All right, now here we are taking a look at 12Z as of yesterday. So this was yesterday morning's model run. As you can see, they had it basically all of them going west of Florida. Then let's take a look at the 18Z run, which was the afternoon hours of yesterday. And as you can see, they kind of had it on both sides, potentially even hitting Florida head on. Here was the 0Z run, which was last night's model run. And you can see they went even further east with this one, where there's only a few showing it hit the west side of Florida there anymore. And then as of this morning on the 6Z run, you can see every single model except for one has it going east or hitting Florida there and posing a threat for the East Coast states. So there was a time as of yesterday where pretty much everybody thought this one was going to go west of Florida. But it is very slowly but surely come back to showing an East Coast threat. Now, the one thing I want to tell you guys, this has kind of been my rule of thumb for a few years now in weather. Since it trended east now, it has trended east. We just looked at the past 4 model runs. It can trend west and go back just as quickly as it's come east. So we really want to keep all of the options on the table, because just as quickly as these models have trended it to hit the East Coast, it can go back to showing a Gulf threat as well. So everything is still on the table regardless whether these models have trended east or west. These are just models at the end of the day, and we see these ones fluctuate so much every single day. Now, the only model that really held its ground here was the GEFS model, which I was very impressed with. As you can see, this was yesterday morning's model run. All of the other models had this one pretty much heading west of Florida, but no, the GEFS model said no, this one is still going to remain an East Coast threat. And then here's this model, this morning's model run, and you can see it's hardly changed at all. So the GFS ensemble model has had the best handle on this storm so far out of any of the models, and I'm quite impressed with how well this model has done. We're going to need to really watch this one closely because it has done an excellent job to this point as far as predicting where this one will go. All right, now here's our Canadian ensemble model, and this one's just all over the place. This was last night's run. It doesn't have a 6Z or an 18Z run. It only has 2 runs a day. So we're really going to need to see what this one shows on the 12Z. But this is probably the worst ensemble model we have available to us. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the intensity guidance. Then we're going to take a look at my cone forecast for this one. And then we're actually going to take a look at a few climate things. We're going to see how the rising and sinking air is doing, when we might see an even more active period than we're seeing right now. And also we're going to take a look at how that La Niña is developing. All right, so here is that intensity guidance as of yesterday morning. As you can see, they really had this one falling off, probably because it was going to go kind of through Dominican Republic, back into Cuba, and then maybe immediately interact with Florida or go into the Gulf, where we actually have some below normal sea surface temperatures set up. So that was most likely why this was showing this. But let's move towards this morning, and as you can see, they have completely changed their mind. Now a majority of the models actually have this one hitting a Category 1, and a couple of them have it hitting Category 2 or 3. The one thing I want to note, again, just like I said a couple minutes ago, as quickly as these models have shifted towards a very strong storm, they could shift back towards showing this one fall off. I want to make that very clear, especially when we have a very key point coming up, or a plot point, I guess you could call it, in this storm's life. Coming up, where this one's going to hit Dominican Republic, which has very tall and very beautiful mountains. I've been there before. It's very beautiful. These mountains are known for ripping up these storms and really altering the forecast. So we're really going to need to watch this one closely. And again, immediately after doing that, it's going to interact with shear and dry air. Will this one persevere, or will it fall apart? And that's really the question at this point. The models are trending towards it strengthening regardless of these negative factors here for this storm's development. They're trending at least being a strong tropical storm throughout its lifetime for the next 5 days or so, or potentially becoming a hurricane. Very interesting. Now here's our cone forecast for this one. As you can see, we've left the option for this one to eventually head west of Florida available by a little bit, because again, it can go just as quickly as it's trended east, it could trend back west, but it's looking like a very more likely that it's going to be an East Coast threat, potentially offshore of the East Coast, not really interacting with any states, but it seems likely that we will have some sort of landfall between Florida and North Carolina there, though there is, again, I would say about a 25% chance it stays offshore of those states there. All right, now to talk about that sinking and rising air quickly, when we have sinking air, that's bad for tropical development. And believe it or not, we've actually been in a sinking air motion for the Gulf and East Coast of the United States, including the Caribbean, for like maybe a week or two now. And we've seen many tropical systems try to develop in this region. I think 3 so far during the sinking air phase. But by the time we reach August 12th through August 19th, you can see we go back towards the rising air. We see a favorable period come along, and we're still probably going to be looking at those above average sea surface temperatures, which have been carrying these tropical systems, because that's the only thing I can come up with that has really led to the development of these tropical storms. Look out, because once we see this rising air head in, we're going to see pretty much favorable conditions on all cylinders here, and we could start to see very active period and potentially some hurricanes or major hurricanes here, considering this will be one of the more favorable periods most likely throughout our hurricane season this year. If there's going to be major hurricanes or a major hurricane, it'll probably be during this phase. All right, now let's also look at how that La Niña is doing. And as you can see, it actually trended towards, it's been a few weeks since I've talked about this, but it's trended kind of positive a little bit, where it's right around neutral, but it is completely sank during the past 4 or 5 days. It's gone from about neutral to about 0.2 degrees negative there on our Niña 3.4 index, which is where we measure our La Niña or El Niño. So we are heading back towards La Niña, which is good for tropical development. So we're going to need to watch that closely as well. This hurricane season is really coming along, and it seems like it's definitely going to be the active one we've been forecasting for a few months now. I would say with how June and July has gone, already it's been so active that it's almost impossible for this hurricane season to come out being below normal, because it's been so much above normal to this point. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I actually asked you guys, do you think this tropical storm will go west or east of Florida? And many people said west, because that's what was kind of the trend as of yesterday. But one person I found, Thomas Foy, said east. So congratulations, you kind of went against the grain as of yesterday, but it ended up being kind of the right answer, it appears, as of right now. So good job, Thomas. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I appreciate all of you. Again, be sure to check out the Patreon, the Facebook group. We've been tons of activity. I'd love to have you there, including myself. I've been very active there. Check out our Discord server, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Be sure to share with your friends, family, and social media.